but at the hands of some Ahmadis who took my advice and admonishment seriously and prayed and with all humility tried to fulfill the obligation which rested on them, because whenever I invite you as Ahmadis to something, it becomes an obligation with you, and an holy obligation, because it is, the purpose is divine and Allah's purpose which is to be served.
Well,
if Americans, as you have just mentioned, take up this challenge and start converting the Vietnamese etc. here in America, I'm quite sure in a matter of a few years the whole situation will change. So now you have suggested, this becomes your prime responsibility.
well, the opposition there is bred from ignorance more than anything else, just like...
No, but this is the common factor working against all truth, everywhere. Now don't try to wriggle out of this
No,
position
I'm
in
not.
which you have landed yourself. You know, in Punjabi there is a wise saying which has come to my help. It says, "Jara bole ohi bua khole." Whoever who answers the knock at the door must get up and open the door. So you have knocked at the door at the wrong time for you,
Now,
and right time for me.
believe it or
So
not...
I dare you to convert the Vietnamese and others to whom you are inviting my attention, and then hand over them to me, and I'll do the rest of the work with them. Okay?
Inshallah. And the other question I had was, have you had any dealings with the Indian government at all as far as improving the lot of Muslims there? Because, I mean,
Indian government?
well, any officials at all as far as improving the lot of Muslims in India, because the Arab world knows about the persecution, but they don't do a thing, and there's no one really in
No,
the
we
world.
are always fighting the cause of Muslims in general everywhere, even in India.
Have you had any success, any
Of
promises?
course, we have had success in a manner which others can even not dream of. You know, when the wave of persecution started in Rajputana, in the areas where there was Shuddhi movement, there the Hindus started, haranguing the common sensibilities of Hindus against that, and they started rushing there in large numbers. And there were also Ahmadi workers preaching Islam to the scheduled caste, not scheduled caste, but Rajputs, who had once been Muslims but later were converted to Hinduism. Now they did some transgressions against Ahmadis, but my instruction to them was not to hit back at all. Let whatever may happen to you happen, and only keep the authorities informed that you look at, we are a peaceful community and we are not going to pay them in the same coins. We'll suffer, but it will bring a blemish to Indian name all over the world. We are a powerful community in the sense that we are in so many, more than 100 countries, and they will all talk of Indian attitude to religion with reference to our own personal experiences. Now this worked, and immediately the government agencies moved there and told the Hindu leaders not to do any harm to the Ahmadi preachers there, and let them preach Islam to them and let them convert. They're not hurting you, so you don't hurt them. Counter preach, that's your right, but you can't use physical force against them. So this was just a dose of wisdom applied in the situation, and it worked. Other Muslims, unfortunately, are not properly led.
No, they're not.
They're always misdirected on the other hand. If one of them is hurt, they say, come on, let's burn the houses of some Hindus who are in minority in our area. And this is the most stupid policy which could possibly be conceived. Because in most areas the Hindus are in majority and Muslims are in minority. In some areas, of course, there are some Hindus in a minority. Those Muslims may burn their houses or kill them and destroy them and even burn them alive with their life, but they will have to pay through their noses for the crimes they commit here. Because in that case, the entire society of India would rise up and destroy the Muslims wherever they can. Sikhs are far more powerful community in the sense of their personal reactions and strength. Yet when they started to rise against the Indian government, you know what happened to them?
Sure.
They completely smashed them. So it is not always the physical force which should come to your help. It is wisdom, and always wisdom, which helps the weak and the poor. So Islam speaks of wisdom in such situations. And we have been employing it when, with the grace of Allah, we have been surviving in situations where others failed to survive.
Well,
But as far as the protests are concerned, we do make protests, not only in India, elsewhere as well.
well,
Even in America, the Ahmadiyya head of the Jamaat here, whenever there was a reported incidence of misbehavior or cruelty committed against Muslims, we lodged our protests. Now, we are a small, weak community, I understand, but what else could we do? Tell me.
Wasn't much else.
Nothing. Yes.
Well, the Hindu Rashtra concept in India is gaining popularity, and that's what was
You see,
worrisome.
that is because, again, of some very stupid behavior of the Muslim clergy in Pakistan and some other Muslim countries. They emphasize the right of any person belonging to a religion to practice the religion as they understand, even if it violates the universally accepted principles of fundamental human rights. This is what they claim. And they say, because our religion tells us to ill-treat this and that society in the name of God, such behavior cannot be tolerated, so we are permitted and nobody can stop us. The Hindus then say the same thing. It's all right. The same is true of our religion. It is even more intolerant of non-Hindu faith than Islam can even be presented even by the most extremist among you. And this is true. So they say, if you have a right to destroy temples and in the name of Islam because you can call it idol worship and you don't agree with that, we also have a right to destroy mosques. So the folly lies with the crooked thinking of the Muslim leadership.
It's a no-win situation.
Huh?
It's a no-win situation. If
Yes.
no. Going back to the first question, the reason I asked was because when I was a little child, we used to, there was a missionary from Calcutta, Sultana Muzaffar Sahib,
Yes.
and Mashriq Ali Sahib used to come to Assam,
right, yes.
and we used to travel in the car with them and go around village to village.
Yes.
So I was wondering if any progress had been made.
Oh yes, a lot of ground has been covered since
Okay.
then.
I've been gone about 15 years now, so just...
Lot of ground has been covered.
Okay.
In those days, I think if you remember correctly, the rate of conversions was hardly in tens
Very few.
or even less,
Less.
wasn't it?
Yes.
Now it has gone into thousands.
That's great.
So some progress, isn't it?
It is.
MashaAllah.
Jazakallah.
I as a parent once found myself in an unusual situation with my child who was 5 years old, and he asked me a question which shook me down to my faith. One day he simply asked, "Show me your God." And I didn't have an answer for him right away. And somehow we were traveling in the car, it was kind of cold, and I asked him, Wali is his name, he was sleeping over there. Wali, do you feel warm or cold? And he said, cold. I asked him, show me your cold. He said, I can feel it. I said, that's how I feel my God. But that was a purely subjective answer to a very objective question. What is your objective answer or comment about that?
Well, did you say that you are going to ask a small question?
No, that's why, that's why I said,
Or did I mishear you?
that's why I said I don't want an answer, just a comment.
Huh?
I don't expect an answer, just a comment.
No, why should I comment when an answer is needed?
Okay. So you want me to come
And
back
a
tomorrow?
much